Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to our channel. I'm Sandra. My husband Dan and I are resellers, and I am doing a different video today. I wasn't going to do this, but I decided to go ahead and do this and share with you why I feel some people make more money as resellers and some people don't, based on what they list, brands, style, and whatnot. So if that interests you, stay tuned and we're going to dive into this. Excuse me. So again, like I said, we are professional resellers. We've been at this. I started it up again last summer, just doing it myself. We went on vacations. We took a little bit of a break. Sorry, I took my sweatshirt off because I was burning up. And then we got sick last fall, and we kind of took a break trying to get through pneumonia and stuff. So we both hit it really hard full time. I'd say probably the end of December, beginning of January. Dan came on board full time, and we've been at it working it full time. We work our best to try and get a minimum of 10 listings a day up, 5 to 6 days a week. Don't always accomplish that, but that's what we strive towards. So let's kind of talk about the different types of resellers that there are. I made some notes here just so that I remember kind of what I'm thinking about. So business model. I follow several people who are resellers on YouTube, and I glean a lot from their information. I gain a lot from their perspective. Also, I love to see the different types of business models they have, what clothing works best for them, what goods works best for them, and everybody is so different. It is so true when they say do not compare yourself to somebody else as a reseller, like anything else in the world. You can't compare yourself when you're a reseller to somebody else. You can have a similar concept or similar business model to what they have, but I don't believe as a reseller that you can be exactly like somebody else for the reasons we're going to talk about today. Okay, there are so many different types of resellers. I believe that there's about 3 or 4 different types of resellers. Those who do so professionally, who literally make a living off of reselling full time. And then there are those people who do it kind of part-time with a full-time or part-time job. They have kids, they have families that they're raising. And then there's those people who kind of do it just like as like a fun kind of thing, you know, hey, I kind of enjoy this, but it's just like a little thing that I do. And then there are those people who do it to get rid of like the clothes that they don't wear anymore. There's moms who get, you know, who resell their kids' clothes to make money to, you know, to pass it on to other people, and then also buy other kids' clothes on these platforms for their kids. So I think there are different types of resellers, and not every reseller works it the same way. The other thing is how they source. And this is a huge one, y'all. I really think that this is a huge factor for some people. And the reason why I say this is because after moving to South Dakota where we live, we have definitely experienced that sourcing is very different for me than when I kind of did it part-time when I had a full-time job back in Washington. The reason why I say that is not every state has the same types of styles and brands available at their thrift store. I know out here, we see a lot of Under Armour. We see a lot of Columbia Sportswear. I see a lot of other different simple brands that are mall brands. You don't see Lululemon very often, unless we went to garage sales and one gal had ordered Lululemon online and she was selling her Lululemon stuff. Or if you source it online, you can find Lululemon. You don't see Patagonia out here. So there are certain brands that in certain places, like we kind of live out in the sticks a little bit and we like it. We have to travel about 45 minutes to a big major town, and we're okay with that. That's kind of where we source and do most of our sourcing when it's not spring, summer season for garage sales and whatnot. But the other reason why I say that sourcing is a big factor is people like some of the people that I follow who live in Oregon. They have local even bins. Our closest bin is about 2 hours away. They have local bins where they can source for like what, $1.27, $1.50 a pound. But their Goodwill store prices are super high compared to my Goodwill store sourcing and different brands. I hope that makes sense. So where you live and how you source, I believe sometimes is a really huge factor in what you can list. The other thing that I think is a factor in what kind of business model you have is what you choose to source. And again, what you choose to source sometimes depends on where you live, unless you source online, which we do. We source locally and we source online. But some people can't get out and source locally just because they have jobs and kids and families that keep them from being able to have time to source in stores. So they do their sourcing online, and they're only able to access that type of items online. And so they can't get certain brands like if you can in a store sometimes, depending on what kind of online sourcing you do. So really sourcing is a huge factor. But some people do choose to have a business model that is just like bread and butter mall brands. And some people focus their stores on much higher end brands, so they don't sell as many pieces, but they make more money in their sales because it sells at a higher price bracket. So you can't really compare yourself to other people. Now let's talk about platforms. Platforms also is a huge thing. If you source on Poshmark, right now Poshmark is going through a really big cadoodle, I call it, just because of everything, all the changes that they're making. And when you source on Poshmark, via a video that I just watched, it's not just the brands, but it's also the trends, which you can look at on Poshmark. So sometimes when you source, it depends on the brands, it depends on the trends, but sometimes it also depends on the style. Sometimes you don't just source depending on the brand, but you source in the style, because styles fade in and out, and a style that may have been really popular back in the 70s, 80s, or 90s is really popular now, and those trends are really popular and they sell really well, but it doesn't base on a brand. So I think also what triggers how much people are selling too, and I really believe in this just because of what we've seen in our business, is if you cross post. I truly think that cross posting to multiple platforms is huge, because as we have seen via eBay, Mercari, and Poshmark recently, things change on platforms, and sometimes I know some of the resellers that are really huge resellers, their sales really plummeted because of what Poshmark's been going through, and they sold on other platforms. But if you're not selling on other platforms besides Poshmark, or the changes that eBay made recently, and I know that some people have told me that their eBay sales have also slowed down. So if you only sell on eBay and you don't sell on other platforms, you're not going to be still continuing to make sales if you're not listing on multiple platforms. So Dan and I list on multiple platforms. We list on 6 different platforms. I recently picked up our 6th about a month ago. That's going well already. And so I do think that if you make multiple sales, sometimes your multiple sales are not just going to be on 1 or 2 platforms, they're going to be on multiple platforms. And we have seen that in the last few weeks in our business. We have made many sales. For us, many sales is like 20 sales a week. We're working on getting to the point where we're doing 10, 15, 20 sales a day. We're not there yet. We're working on it. But versus me only being on Poshmark or eBay or both and maybe making 10 sales or 15 sales in a week because I'm not on the other platforms that I'm on. So you see what I'm saying? If you're on multiple platforms, if 1 or 2 platforms isn't making sales but the others are, you're still making sales throughout the week because you're on multiple platforms. I think that's huge. I think how you source, the type of business model, if you have a business model where you sell more items and make maybe items that sell between 20 to 35, unless you have a nicer brand and it sells more, which I've been working on that and that's been going great. Or if you sell brands, like one gal that I follow, her basic, her average selling price is between $50 to $60 on an item, but she sells major higher end brands. She's also been at this for a while, so she can afford to buy bulk inventory at a higher price bracket. And so she buys higher end brands that sell for a higher end price. So she sells less items, but she makes a really good income doing it. So that business model is different than if you have where you sell multiple items at say $20 to $30, $35 a piece, and you make anywhere from $10 to $15 per item that you've sold. It's a big difference. You're selling more items. So I hope that makes sense. Where you're buying your inventory, the cost of goods on your inventory. Now, this is a huge one, and this is one of the reasons why I thought about sharing this. The gal that I was talking to that I follow on YouTube, we were talking about different business models. When you're sourcing liquidation online, there's Jomar, there's Cozy Threads now, there's a company literally called Liquidation. There are companies that do lost cargo. You can go through bulk. Oh my goodness, there's so many different liquidation sources. And some people think that a piece that is, say, $10, $15 per item, and you're paying like $250, $300 for maybe 20 or 30 items, that's to some people, that's a really high cost of goods. To some people, if you can get something where the cost of goods is like $2 on it to maybe like $4 or $5, that's a totally different cost of goods bracket. And so it depends on where you source and what your sourcing is able to list for. So there are so many different factors that decide how many items people sell, how much they make as resellers, on what platforms, and how they source, and where they live and what sourcing is available to them, their lifestyle, if they sell part-time, full-time, whether they can get out source, only source online. There's so many different reasons why people list on different platforms at different price brackets. So I know I've just noticed this over the last few months, even with all the different changes that are going on with platforms and everything. So if you're trying to compare yourself to other resellers, I highly discourage that. And I don't mean to be that in a negative way. Your particular business is your business. It's not going to be exactly the same as another reseller's business because there are so many different factors that go into reselling. What I encourage you to do is find what works for you. If things aren't quite working for you, figure out how to tweak it, do your own research, research trends, research price brackets, research other platforms, research different Goodwill stores. If you can do garage sales, do that. Figure out what works really well. Know what works well for your family. If reselling can't be a full-time thing for you, that's okay. If it's just a part-time thing for you, or you're just doing it to resell your kids' clothes that are used clothes and it's just a fun thing for you. For us, we do this as a full-time thing. Like I said, we're having a ball doing it. We're making money. And we're almost getting to the point where it is enough to continue to source and to pay our bills. We don't have huge bills. So we're getting closer to that point where we can live just on that, and that be okay, because our living out here is very simple. Some other people have more bills, and it's more expensive for them to source. Like I know a lot of people, like I was saying, even in Oregon and other states, their cost of goods in their Goodwill stores has gone through the roof. So they've been talking about having to find other ways to source and find inventory because their COG is so high in their Goodwill stores. I am very fortunate that we are not finding that in our Goodwill stores here. My cost of goods has been staying the same, and my cost of goods is sometimes anywhere from half to 3/4 cheaper than what they're paying in some of these other states. So I feel very fortunate that I can not only source online and have a great COG that way, do my own research and figure out what works for my business model, but I'm also able to source garage sales during this time of season. And also I could source the thrift stores, and I have several good thrift stores within a 45-minute time frame of me where Dan and I can go sourcing great pieces to source with. So I hope this video helps you. I just think that there's a lot of talk out there about sourcing, liquidations. There's a lot of negative talk about certain liquidation companies, what's working and what doesn't work for people. And I think you just need to find what niche works for you, because some people find Jomar works so great for them. The COG is great. They find that the boxes that they're getting from them are great. And some people love Cozy Threads, and it's working really great for them. And then I've heard other people who say just the opposite, where Jomar is terrible, Cozy Threads is terrible, and they have a different business model, and they're looking for different types of clothes. Like if you're looking for clothes that you can just sell for maybe $15, $20, those platforms are going to work for you. If you're looking for boxes where you're okay with maybe a quarter to half of that box not working for your business model, and you take those, either you take them back to the Goodwill store or you take them over to your local consignment store or whatever. Some people have the ability to do that and some people don't. So some of those boxes work for those people and some of them don't. So we can't judge whether a liquidation company, hey, it didn't work for me, so don't buy from them. I think you need to determine for yourself via each liquidation company and your business model. If it doesn't work for you, then don't use that company. It's okay. It may be working for other people and they're making money for their own business model, and that works for them, and that's great. So let's all work together as resellers to encourage each other, uplift each other, and find what works for you on your own business model for your family, how you decide and how you're going to make money. Are you making a lot of money or just a simple amount of money or side money with your full-time job? Everybody's business model is different. I think we should all just enjoy reselling where things work for us, learn from each other, and enjoy learning from each other. Please comment below. Tell me what your business model is as a reseller, how you source. Is your Goodwill or your sourcing local stores, are they expensive? Do you source online mainly? Do you source in stores mainly? Give me feedback on what's working for you, what doesn't, what kind of business model you have. Do you sell higher end items only, or do you sell a medium of both, or do you just sell lower end items? Guys, let's talk about this. Share in the comments below what works for you and what doesn't. Do you cross list, or do you only list on one platform, maybe two? Share in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Share with me what you think of these thoughts on reselling, encouraging one another, sourcing in different places. And I'm so glad that I'm learning from other people, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to share with you what we do and how it works for us and what is working for us where we live. So y'all, I hope this works. Again, we do sell on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Depop, Facebook Marketplace, and Vinted. We do sell on 6 different platforms, and that is what works for us right now. That could change, who knows? As that goes, we will keep you posted. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope this information helps you, and hope you all have a really great day. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.